My name is Dr. Hannah Ford, and I'm a researcher based at the University of Oxford. I work in the Nuffield Department of Primary Care Health Sciences, and I'm interested in helping people eat food that is good for their health and good for the planet. I'm currently working on a project called Copper, which is a research project all about food, and we're currently looking for people to take part in workshops called Deliberative Forums. In the next few minutes, I will tell you a little about what this research is and what it will involve to help you decide if you would like to take part. We already know from other research findings that the foods that we eat are linked to our health, and they're also linked to the health of the planet. We also know that at the moment in the UK, people from disadvantaged backgrounds are more likely to experience some of the health conditions that are linked to unhealthy diets. The cost of food is a key reason that often stops people eating healthy and environmentally friendly food. But there are things that governments can do to help this. Governments could use policies called subsidies to make certain foods cheaper, or they could use policies called taxes to make certain foods more expensive. If they use the right kind of subsidies or taxes, it could help support people eat healthier and environmentally friendly foods. By improving people's diets, they can also reduce the differences in health that we see between those from advantaged backgrounds and those from disadvantaged backgrounds. In this project, we're working with the public and policymakers from government to find out what kind of subsidies and taxes are most likely to help people eat healthy, environmentally friendly foods. If you currently live in Bridlington or in Glasgow, we are inviting you to take part in a 2-day workshop that's called a Deliberative Forum. A Deliberative Forum is a special kind of workshop where you would work with 12 to 15 other members of the public. Participants will be given lots of different evidence about the foods we eat, the impact they have on our health, environment, and the economy. Participants will use this evidence to choose from a list of different food subsidy or tax policies. We are holding 2 deliberative forums, and each deliberative forum lasts 2 days. One will be in Govan Hill in Glasgow on the 5th and 6th of October, and the other one will be in Bridlington on the 26th and 27th of October 2023. If you live in one of these areas, you're aged 18 or older, you're comfortable speaking in English, then you're eligible to take part. It is completely up to you if you decide to take part. Even after you have signed the consent form, you are free to withdraw yourselves from the research at any time without giving a reason. Just let us know. If you withdraw before the deliberative forums have started, then we will destroy any data that we have already collected from you. If you withdraw after the deliberative forums have started, we will still destroy any personal data that we have collected from you. However, because of the way the deliberative forums are run, it will not be possible to delete all of your contributions up until that point. If you are interested in taking part, get in touch with us using our contact details at the end of this video. We will ask you to complete a short online registration form. The form will collect some basic information about you, such as your name and age, and if you have problems accessing this form online, we can help you complete it over the phone. We will use your details to email you information about the date and location of the deliberative forums and links to a consent form. The consent form will confirm that you would like to take part and that you understand what it means to be taking part in the research. The deliberative forum will last 2 days during school hours in a public meeting space. We will run through a series of exercises to introduce the research project and the main task, which is to decide between different food subsidy and tax policies. We will then present videos containing evidence, for example about the impact of food on the environment. After that, you will have time to ask questions about this evidence and discuss it with other participants. By the end of the deliberative forum, all of the participants will use this evidence to work together to rank the policies in order of preference. You do not need to know anything about these topics before you take part. We will give you all the information you need on the day. After the deliberative forums, our team will work closely with policymakers to add more details to the policies that are ranked highly, to make them the kind of policies that could be used by governments. In the rest of the Copper project, we are going to estimate the impact of these policies on health, the environment, and the economy using mathematical models. Once we have some of these findings, we will invite you and the other Deliberative Forum participants to a focus group, where you would have the chance to see the findings and provide feedback. If you provide your consent to take part in the Deliberative Forums, this does not mean that you have to take part in the focus group. If you are happy to be contacted about the focus group, we would contact you separately with further details nearer the time. The Deliberative Forum would take up 2 days of participants' time. We will schedule regular breaks and have booked an additional breakout room in case people need some time away from the Deliberative Forum. We will start the Deliberative Forums by agreeing ground rules, such as respecting the opinions of others, even if they don't agree. As we are recruiting from the local community, it is possible that people may know each other in the Deliberative Forum. If this happens, it's up to the individual if they decide to continue. We will ask all participants to protect the identity of other participants by not sharing any information about them. We cannot guarantee how well other participants will follow these rules, but there will be experienced facilitators there on the day to ensure that discussions stay focused on the topic. We want to do research with you and your local community, not just on or for you. At the beginning of the Deliberative Forum, we will discuss with participants what they hope to get out of the process. Although we cannot promise to do everything, we will aim to help participants make the most of contributing to the research process. There may be no immediate benefits from participating in the research. However, ultimately, we are aiming to change food policies in the UK to make it easier for people to eat healthily and reduce the impact of the food we eat on the planet. Each participant will receive a payment of £150 to their bank account. This amount is similar to 2 days paid at the rate of minimum wage. If a participant withdraws from the Deliberative Forum before it is finished, we will pay them an equivalent amount for the hours they have completed. It will take approximately 2 to 4 weeks after the Deliberative Forum for this payment to appear in bank accounts, but during busy periods it could take up to 6 weeks. We will also pay for participants' travel to the Deliberative Forums and any other reasonable expenses that we're told about in the registration form. Just keep hold of your receipts. To receive this payment, participants would complete a form that asks for their bank account details, their nationality or national insurance number. If you would prefer not to provide that information, we can offer a shopping voucher of equivalent value instead. Please note that if you receive any form of welfare benefit, then receiving a payment for the Deliberative Forums may affect your benefits payments. We are not qualified to provide advice about this, so you should check with your local benefits office or equivalent before deciding to participate in the study. If you take part, our research team will have access to the following research data. Your consent form would contain your name. Your consent would be collected electronically through a survey and a copy would be sent to you. Don't worry if you don't have access to the internet. We can do it on the day on one of our devices if so. The survey responses will be downloaded and stored in a secure University of Oxford drive with restricted access. Your contact details would be collected electronically through an online registration form. This would include your name, email address, phone number, and postal address. With your consent, we would keep your contact details in a password-protected Excel file, saved in a folder with restricted access on the Nuffield Department of Primary Care Health Sciences Department computer drives. These details will be used to contact participants about the focus groups and findings at the end of the study. The registration form will also ask for individuals' personal data. This would include your name, email address, phone number, postal address, gender, ethnic group, income, household composition, and accessibility requirements. This data will be downloaded and stored on a password-protected file in a secure University of Oxford drive with restricted access. Individual data will be destroyed 1 month after the final deliberative forum has been completed, but it is likely that when we report the findings of our study, we will report some of these information for the whole group, for example, the number of participants who were female. We will audio record the deliberative forum using recording devices owned by the University of Oxford. The recording will be downloaded and stored in a secure University of Oxford drive with restricted access. The recording will be sent securely to a trusted transcription company who will produce anonymous transcripts of the deliberative forums. The recordings will be destroyed once all of the transcripts have been received and checked for accuracy and completeness, and the first stage of our analysis has been completed. This is where we familiarize ourselves with the data by listening to the recordings. We may also photograph some of these resources and completed worksheets during the deliberative forum. We will use the photos to understand how the deliberative forum worked and may also use the photos when we share the findings of the study with the public. The photos will be stored in a secure University of Oxford drive with restricted access. Observation notes, anonymized transcripts, and materials used in the deliberative forum will be scanned and stored in a University of Oxford secure drive until 3 years after publication of the research, after which date they will be destroyed. Paper forms and worksheets used in the deliberative forums will be scanned and stored in a University of Oxford secure drive. We will collect participants' bank details and nationality or national insurance number in order to pay them for their time partaking in the deliberative forum. These details will be held securely by the University of Oxford finance team for 7 years, which is required by financial regulation. Unless otherwise specified, we will retain the data from the deliberative forums until 3 years after publication of the research. After that date, we will destroy any data from this project. The findings from this research will be written up into academic publications, scientific reports, conference presentations, and will be shared to the public and to policymakers at a range of events and in accessible formats, for example, blogs. It is possible that we will wish to use quotes from the deliberative forums, but if we do this, we would remove any information that could identify a participant. It is likely that when we report the findings of our study, we will report some of this information to the whole group, for example, the number of participants who were female. The University of Oxford is the data controller with respect to personal data, and as such, they will determine how personal data is used in the study. The university will process personal data for the purpose of the research outlined above, which is a task in the public interest under the UK General Data Protection Regulation, known as GDPR. Further information about your rights with respect to your personal data is available at the website shown on the screen. This research is being funded by the UK National Institute for Health and Care Research, known as NIHR, Public Health Research Programme, grant reference number NIHR 133887. The views expressed here are those of the authors and not necessarily those of NIHR or the Department of Health and Social Care. Further information can be found at the website shown on the screen. The study has received ethics approval from the Medical Sciences Interdivisional Research Ethics Committee, which is a subcommittee of the University of Oxford Central University Research Ethics Committee. The approval reference is R85156/RE002, and the version is 2.0 dated the 11th of July 2023. If you have a concern about any aspect of the study, then please contact Dr. Hannah Ford or Professor Pete Scarborough using the details shown on the screen, and we will do our best to answer your query. We will aim to acknowledge your concern within 10 working days and give you an indication of how it shall be dealt with. If you remain unhappy or wish to make a formal complaint, you can contact the Chair of the Medical Sciences Interdivisional Research Ethics Committee at the University of Oxford, who will seek to resolve the matter as soon as possible. Their contact details are shown on the screen, and their email address is ethics@medicsciences.org. medsci.ox.ac.uk. If you are interested in taking part in this study, please contact us using the contact details listed on the screen. We would also be happy to discuss any questions you may have about the research. Thank you for listening.